Caitlin Clark has done it again. The Indiana Fever star broke the WNBA rookie single-season scoring record in a thrilling game against the Dallas Wings. With 746 points and counting, Clark's historic season has taken the league by storm. But this is just the beginning. Could Clark be on the verge of an even greater achievement? Stay tuned as we dive into her incredible feat and what's next for this rising star. The Indiana Fever hit the jackpot when they secured the first overall pick in the 2024 WNBA Draft, selecting Caitlin Clark, a generational talent with an ability to dominate games. And Clark has lived up to the hype, breaking records and cementing her place as one of the most electrifying rookies the league has ever seen. On Sunday, Clark added yet another milestone to her already impressive resume, breaking the WNBA's single-season rookie scoring record with 746 points. This record-breaking moment came during a crucial matchup against the Dallas Wings, and the Fever needed every bit of Clark's brilliance to pull off the win. Clark secured her place in history with a signature move, a fadeaway jumper, that pushed her past Simone Augustus's record of 744 points, a record that had stood for 18 years. But Clark isn't done yet. With one game left in the regular season against the Washington Mystics, she has 40 more minutes to pad her record and make it even harder for future rookies to chase. Fans are eagerly watching to see how high she can set the bar, and considering how unstoppable she's been, we might witness even more history before the season is over. Clark's 35-point performance against the Wings was nothing short of sensational. She added 8 assists and 2 rebounds to lead her team in an intense back-and-forth battle, alongside her backcourt partner, Kelsey Mitchell, who contributed 30 points. Clark and Mitchell made WNBA history by becoming the first duo to each score 30-plus points and hit 6 or more three-pointers in the same game. Their chemistry has been a driving force behind the Fever's resurgence this season. The Fever's narrow 110-109 victory over the Wings was crucial as they fight to secure their place in the playoffs. Indiana now holds a 2019 record and is battling to lock down the number 6 seed, fending off the Phoenix Mercury. A win in their next game against the Mystics will seal their spot, but even if they lose, they could still secure their seed if the Mercury falter in their final games. The pressure is on, but with Clark in top form, the Fever are more than capable of making a deep playoff run. Let's talk about the significance of Caitlin Clark's rookie season. Breaking the rookie scoring record is no small feat, especially when you consider the player whose record she surpassed. Simone Augustus was a legend in her own right, and her record stood for nearly 2 decades. For Clark to break that in her first season speaks volumes about her talent, drive, and ability to rise to the occasion under pressure. Clark's impact goes beyond the numbers, though. She's transformed the Fever into a playoff contender, a remarkable turnaround for a franchise that has struggled in recent years. Her leadership, poise, and ability to score from anywhere on the court have made her the centerpiece of this team, and her partnership with Kelsey Mitchell has given the Fever one of the most dangerous backcourts in the WNBA. While Clark has been setting records all season, she's not just a one-dimensional player. She's already set another WNBA rookie record with 329 assists, showing that her playmaking ability is just as lethal as her scoring. Her ability to make her teammates better, combined with her individual brilliance, has put her in the conversation for Rookie of the Year and potentially even MVP votes in the future. Clark's historic season is just beginning to unfold. The Fever have already clinched a playoff spot, and with the way Clark has been playing, they have a legitimate shot at making noise in the postseason. Clark's ability to step up in clutch moments has been on full display all year, and as the Fever head into the playoffs, they'll be leaning on their rookie star to guide them through the tough competition ahead. This historic achievement comes at a time when the WNBA is seeing a surge in young talent. Clark's dominance adds to the growing list of young stars taking the league by storm, and her rivalry with players like Arike Ogunbowale and Angel Reese will continue to push the league to new heights. The future of women's basketball looks bright, and Clark is leading the charge. But here's the real question. How much higher can Caitlin Clark climb? With one game left in the regular season and a playoff run looming, Clark's rookie year is far from over. Could she continue to break records and lead the Fever deep into the postseason? Stay tuned because the Caitlin Clark Show is just getting started.
They want this.
A'ja Wilson made WNBA history. In an incredible moment, Wilson became the first player in league history to score 1,000 points in a single season, and LeBron was quick to celebrate her achievement. But what does this historic feat mean for Wilson's legacy and the Aces championship hopes? Let's break it all down. The Las Vegas Aces star A'ja Wilson continues to redefine what it means to dominate the WNBA. On Sunday, during an 84-71 victory over the Connecticut Sun, Wilson cemented her place in the record books by becoming the first player to score 1,000 points in a single season. This monumental achievement didn't go unnoticed, especially by LeBron James, who took to social media to congratulate Wilson on her historic performance. LeBron's reaction came shortly after Wilson hit a fadeaway jumper from the elbow to score her 1,000th point. The Aces called timeout, and her teammates immediately mobbed her, celebrating the incredible accomplishment. On Instagram, LeBron shared photos of the moment, showing Wilson surrounded by her team, the crowd erupting as they witnessed history in the making. As the WNBA's two-time MVP and now potentially a third, A'ja Wilson is having a season for the ages. Her ability to take over games and push her team to victory is exactly why LeBron, a fellow superstar, showed his support. After all, as someone who knows a thing or two about breaking scoring records, LeBron's praise carries extra weight. But Wilson's record-breaking performance wasn't just about personal milestones. It's also been a key factor in the Aces' success this season. With a 25-13 record and a one-game lead over the Seattle Storm, the Aces have turned their early season struggles into momentum just in time for the playoffs. Wilson's leadership and dominance have been the driving force behind the team's resurgence. And as they gear up for another championship run, she's proving why she's the heart and soul of this Aces squad. A'ja Wilson isn't just dominating the scoring charts, she's also been a beast on the boards. Averaging 12 rebounds per game, Wilson is just 3 rebounds away from breaking another WNBA record. Most rebounds in a single season. While Chicago Sky rookie Angel Reese currently holds the record, Wilson's relentless play in the final stretch of the season gives her a chance to claim that title as well. If Wilson pulls off both feats, leading the league in points and rebounds, there will be little doubt that she's the favorite to win another MVP. This kind of historic play is why the Aces are in a prime position to compete for their 3rd consecutive WNBA title, something only the now-defunct Houston Comets have done. The pressure is high, but the Aces are peaking at the right time, winning 7 of their last 8 games, and they'll need Wilson to continue her MVP-caliber performances if they hope to achieve the elusive three-peat. LeBron's hyped reaction to Wilson's success underscores the respect she commands from not only the WNBA, but also NBA stars. It's no surprise that James, one of the greatest players in basketball history, would celebrate someone who is redefining what greatness looks like in the WNBA. And it's not just LeBron. Miami Heat's Bam Adebayo, who has been linked to Wilson in dating rumors, also showed subtle support on social media, further fueling speculation about their relationship.
Yeah, A'ja Wilson. And she won gold in women's basketball. I guess that has something to do with Bam and the Heat, huh? Being here today. Well, we are super proud. We're going to be presenting the keys in a moment.
Wilson's season isn't just about the numbers. It's about her ability to lead and inspire. As the Aces head into the playoffs, her historic performance is giving her team the boost they need to aim for another title. Wilson's leadership and determination have not only made her a candidate for another MVP award, but have also positioned the Aces as one of the favorites to win it all again. With the regular season winding down and the playoffs approaching, the Las Vegas Aces have one clear advantage: A'ja Wilson. Her ability to rise to the occasion in high-pressure situations is reminiscent of LeBron's own career. And just like LeBron has done countless times, Wilson is showing that she can carry her team when it matters most. If she continues playing at this level, the Aces could very well add another championship banner to their collection. Wilson's performance this season, averaging 27 points, 12 rebounds, and 2.6 blocks per game, has been nothing short of dominant. With only 2 games left before the playoffs, Wilson has a chance to further solidify her legacy, not just with individual accolades, but by helping the Aces make history with a three-peat. So, will A'ja Wilson's historic season end with another MVP award and a third consecutive WNBA title? With LeBron James and Bam Adebayo hyped about her success, one thing is clear. Wilson is already one of the greatest to ever play the game. But can she take the Aces to the top once again? Stay tuned, because the next chapter in her legendary career is just getting started.
Who's the best player in the country?
To the media or me?
As you see it.
I feel like I'm the best player in the country.
Okay, who's the second best player in the country?
Shit.
People didn't notice the game. They're noticing it now. Well, that's because of Caitlin Clark, not Angel Reese. But there's nothing about her game that's really interesting.
Caitlin Clark is the best women's basketball player any of us have ever seen.
Angel Reese recently made headlines with her controversial claims about being sexualized, blaming Caitlin Clark's fan base. In a viral moment, Reese suggested she was targeted because of her appearance and online presence.
I get to speak out on things just because I just try to ignore, and I just try to stand strong. Like, I've been through so much, I've seen so much, I've been attacked so many times. Death threats, I've been sexualized, I've been threatened, I've been so many things, and I've stood strong every single time.
Reese can control what she does. If she doesn't want people talking about her sexuality, don't make your sexuality the point of your Instagram page.
But fans aren't buying it. Reese, who has embraced a Barbie image on her Instagram, now accuses Caitlin Clark's fans of contributing to the negative attention. People are calling this out as clout chasing, and the connection to Clark feels forced. What's really going on here? Is Angel Reese just using Caitlin Clark's name to stay relevant? Meanwhile, Caitlin Clark's incredible performances in the WNBA continue to dominate headlines.
Caitlin Clark is the best women's basketball player any of us have ever seen.
Breaking records and drawing huge audiences. The comparisons between the two stars are becoming increasingly one-sided, with Clark emerging as a generational talent, while Reese struggles to maintain consistency. Many are pointing to Reese's jealousy, especially as Clark's star power overshadows her own. The WNBA is now under fire for its handling of aggressive fouls targeting Caitlin Clark. One of the most talked about incidents involved Diamond DeShields.
Here's Clark for 29 points, gets tripped up. Caitlin Clark and Diamond who
committed a brutal foul against Clark during a high-profile WNBA game. Fans were outraged, and many are calling for WNBA Commissioner Kathy Engelbert to address the league's growing safety concerns. Yet the league remains silent, and this has fans demanding answers.
Then what happens is Diamond DeShields body blocks her like she's playing football, running down the floor, clearly runs right into her to knock her over. Flagrant foul called. That's 2 more. That's 5 free throws in a minute, because y'all can't control yourselves, not because of the referees.
The question remains, is the WNBA protecting its star players like Caitlin Clark, or are they dropping the ball? This rivalry between Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark is about more than just basketball. It's also fueling discussions about race and favoritism in the WNBA.
Some sensitivities of rivalries between players. In the case of Angel Reese, who's just had to shut it down because of a wrist injury, Caitlin Clark, who's continuing to play. Rivalry that goes back to their college days, presumably. But now it seems on some social media channels to have taken a darker turn, a more menacing turn, where race has been introduced into the conversation, where sexuality is sometimes introduced into the conversation. How do you try and stay ahead of that? Uncharitable things about the other.
Well, the one thing that's great about the league right now, we do sit at this intersection of culture and sport and fashion and music. Like, the WNBA players are really looked at now as kind of cultural icons.
True.
And when you have that, you have a lot of attention on you. There's no more apathy. Everybody cares. It is a little that Bird Magic moment, if you recall, from 1979, when those 2 rookies came in from a big college rivalry, one white, one black.
Serena Williams, a legendary name in sports, even weighed in, telling Caitlin Clark that critics are simply jealous of her unmatched talent.
Clark, what advice would you have maybe for her?
I just love that she tries to stay grounded, and she says she doesn't, what did she say? She doesn't have a social, she doesn't look at her social, and I get it. I don't either. And I think it's so important to continue to do what she's doing, and no matter what other people do, then
if people are negative, it's because they can't do what you do, basically. And hopefully she'll continue to do what she's doing. So
Clark continues to rise above the drama, letting her on-court skills do the talking, while Reese appears to focus on off-court narratives that detract from the game. The fan base is growing tired of the unnecessary drama. They're not tuning in to see these personal feuds. They're here for the basketball, and Caitlin Clark is giving them just that. Clark's presence has boosted WNBA viewership by 180% and led to sold-out arenas whenever she plays. In contrast, Reese's public statements seem more self-centered, and the difference in their approaches is becoming clear. Caitlin Clark is all about her team, while Angel Reese appears to make it all about herself.
And I'm happy. I mean, they still got us. They got one up on us, so I'm just happy for the team, and I want to make it about us. I just want our team. Chicago, they came out tonight, so I'm just happy for us.
As the WNBA continues to face backlash over these incidents, the league's future is at a critical juncture. Clark is driving the WNBA's resurgence, but unless the league steps up to protect her from the increasing aggression she faces, they risk losing the momentum she's brought. The constant comparisons between Clark and Reese are growing stale. One is focused on winning, while the other seems stuck in a cycle of self-promotion. Caitlin Clark has proven that she can handle the pressure, but fans are concerned about the WNBA's inability to protect its biggest star. In a recent game, Clark was on the receiving end of yet another aggressive foul, this time from Angel Reese herself.
Clark, hammer. Reese. Yep, across the head, and they will go to the monitor.
Fans were quick to label it a flagrant foul, demanding stricter enforcement from the league. This wasn't the first time Clark has been targeted, and it won't be the last if the WNBA doesn't intervene. Angel Reese, on the other hand, continues to make headlines for all the wrong reasons. Instead of focusing on her game, she seems more interested in comparing herself to Caitlin Clark.
Caitlin is an amazing player, and I've always thought she was an amazing player. We've been playing each other since high school. Like, literally been playing each other since high school, and, like, knowing that, like, there's never been beef. Like, we've talked trash to each other in AAU. Like, that it's been that. So I think it's really just the fans, her fans.
But fans are seeing through the act. Every time you see Angel, it's about her. Caitlin, it's about the team, one fan remarked. This growing divide between the two players is emblematic of the larger issues within the WNBA. The league needs to shift the focus back to basketball, not personal drama. Despite the distractions, Caitlin Clark continues to shine. Over the past 2 months, she has been in top form, setting records and leading her team to success. Her three-point shooting is on fire, and she's already broken the franchise record for most three-pointers in a season. Whether at home or on the road, fans are flocking to see her in action. It's no wonder she's being hailed as the future face of the WNBA. Clark's leadership goes beyond scoring. She's become a fan favorite because of her ability to connect with the audience, signing autographs, taking pictures, and lifting her teammates both on and off the court. Compare that to Angel Reese, who seems more focused on her own brand. Fans are beginning to ask, who is really elevating the WNBA, Clark or Reese? The physicality in the WNBA is no joke, but the aggression directed at Caitlin Clark is reaching new levels.
Sometimes your emotions get the best of you. Happened to me multiple times throughout the course of my career. People are competitive. It is what it is. And she's having a tremendous season. She's played great basketball in my eyes, probably in first place for 6th player of the year. And, it's just basketball at the end of the day. There's no grudges. There's nothing like that. It's a sport. It's competitive. It's not going to be nice all the time. That's not what basketball is. And I think people that play that.
Fans are not only concerned about player safety, but are also frustrated by the league's lack of action. Some are even threatening to boycott the WNBA if they don't step up and protect their players.
You know when's the last time I watched a WNBA game? Never. Till today. I've still not watched a WNBA game.
Caitlin Clark is single-handedly bringing in record-breaking crowds and attention. But if the WNBA doesn't address the issues surrounding her, they risk losing everything she's worked to build. Serena Williams' recent praise for Caitlin Clark underscores the impact Clark is having on not just the WNBA, but the world of sports. Williams told Clark, "No matter what people do, it's because they can't do what you do." It's a powerful statement that reflects the level of respect Clark has earned across the sports community. As Clark continues to stay grounded and focused on her performance, Angel Reese's attempts to stir controversy are looking more and more like desperate grabs for attention. The rivalry between Clark and Reese reached new heights when Clark was once again fouled aggressively, sparking outrage among fans. Many labeled it as a flagrant foul and called on the WNBA to enforce stricter penalties. This wasn't the first time Clark has been targeted, and fans are growing increasingly frustrated with the league's inaction. The comparisons between Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese are starting to feel one-sided, with Clark continuing to rise as the league's biggest star, while Reese struggles to stay relevant.
Caitlin Clark is actually very, very skilled. Angel Reese has none. She's an energy player. That's it. She's not a skilled basketball player, and people are starting to point that out. She's not going to like it.
As the WNBA navigates this critical period, Caitlin Clark's performances are setting new standards for the league. Her ability to lead her team, both with her scoring and leadership, is unmatched. Fans are loving her style of play, and her impact is undeniable. But as Clark continues to break records and elevate the WNBA, the constant comparisons to Angel Reese are becoming tiresome. One player is focused on the team, while the other seems more focused on herself. The WNBA is at a crossroads. The league needs to protect its star players, address the ongoing safety concerns, and refocus on the game itself. Caitlin Clark has brought unprecedented attention to the WNBA, and the league has a chance to capitalize on her success. But first, they need to step up and address the deeper issues that are holding them back. What are your thoughts on the Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark rivalry? Is the WNBA doing enough to protect its players and address the growing tensions? Drop your comments below, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more WNBA updates and analysis. Stay tuned as we continue to follow this unfolding story. Thanks for watching.
What is Caitlin Clark doing to set off any of this negativity? Caitlin Clark goes to work every day and plays basketball well. And she stays off of social media. She's not subtweeting. She's not doing all this. She's not doing any extracurricular things.
The WNBA world is in chaos, and Caitlin Clark is at the center of it all. Legendary Hall of Famer Cheryl Swoops has been caught throwing major shade at Clark, and the basketball community is buzzing. But what's even more shocking, Rachel DeMita, a former Division I basketball player and well-known media figure, has jumped into the debate to defend Clark, and she isn't holding back.
We have to talk about Caitlin Clark's #1 hater, Cheryl Swoops.
Is this a generational clash between old legends and new stars? Or is there something more at play? Stay tuned as we break down the controversy that's shaking up the WNBA and its fan base. Caitlin Clark is no stranger to making headlines, and her rise to stardom in the WNBA has been nothing short of extraordinary. From her debut, she has been a game changer, breaking records left and right, while captivating fans with her electrifying style of play. Whether it's draining three-pointers from way beyond the arc or making game-changing assists, Clark has proven that she is a generational talent. Her performance has not only transformed the Indiana Fever, but has also increased the visibility of the entire WNBA. Clark's ability to dominate the court, paired with her competitive spirit, has quickly made her the face of the league. She consistently puts up huge numbers, averaging 25 points per game and leading her team to victories they hadn't seen in years. She is also the leading candidate for Rookie of the Year, an accolade that seems all but guaranteed at this point. Yet despite her undeniable talent and impressive numbers, Clark has faced an unusual amount of backlash. Some of it stems from older players who seem to resent the amount of attention she is getting. The biggest name to voice criticism? None other than WNBA legend Cheryl Swoops. Cheryl Swoops, a Hall of Famer and 3-time MVP, is no stranger to success in women's basketball. She paved the way for future generations and solidified her place as one of the greatest players to ever step onto a WNBA court. So why is she throwing shade at Caitlin Clark? In a recent interview, Swoops made comments that seemed to discredit Clark's achievements. She claimed that Clark's record-breaking numbers are less impressive because she had an extra year of eligibility due to COVID-19. According to Swoops,
if you're going to break a record, to me, if it's legitimate, you have to break that record in the same amount of time that that player set it.
Okay.
So if Kelsey Plum set that record in 4 years, well, Caitlin should have broke that record in 4 years. But because there's a COVID year, and then there's another year, you know what I mean? So she's already had an extra year to break that record.
By having more time, Swoops implied that Clark's record is somehow less legitimate. Swoops didn't stop there. She also criticized Clark's style of play, suggesting that Clark takes an excessive number of shots per game, about 40 by her count.
How much more experience that gives you over other players coming in, right? So people say, dang, like he or she's killing them. But you have a 25-year-old playing against a 20-year-old. Like, you should be killing them. Because you've been doing it a lot longer than they have. Clark right now probably takes about 40 shots a game.
This comment immediately raised eyebrows, as it seemed like an attempt to diminish Clark's accomplishments rather than celebrate them. Fans were quick to react, with many defending Clark and pointing out that records are meant to be broken. But it wasn't just fans who spoke up. Rachel DeMita, a former Division I basketball player and host of NBA 2K TV, decided she couldn't stay silent any longer. Rachel DeMita has become a well-known figure in basketball circles, both as a former player and as a media personality. When she heard Sheryl Swoopes' comments about Caitlin Clark, she took to social media to offer a passionate defense of the young star. DeMita didn't mince words.
Sheryl Swoopes hating Caitlin Clark so much that she literally can't even say her name. It's like Caitlin Clark is the Voldemort if Sheryl Swoopes was Harry Potter. Like, literally cannot say Caitlin Clark's name. It is so bizarre.
She called Swoopes' remarks baseless and accused her of being jealous of Clark's success.
Whether you think she's the greatest basketball player to come out of college or not, doesn't mean that you should throw shade and not include her in discussions. It just makes you look petty, it just makes you look jealous, and it just makes you look like a hater.
DeMita pointed out that much of the criticism aimed at Clark seems to come from a place of envy. How could a young player like Caitlin Clark, who is bringing so much attention to the WNBA, face this kind of backlash from a legend like Swoopes? According to DeMita, it's simple. Clark's success has threatened the old guard. In her post, DeMita suggested that instead of tearing down young talent, veterans like Swoopes should be celebrating them. Clark isn't just a great player, she's growing the league, attracting new fans, and bringing attention to the sport. The numbers back this up. WNBA viewership skyrocketed by 180%, and ticket sales are up significantly, largely thanks to players like Clark. DeMita argued that this kind of growth should be celebrated, not criticized. What's happening here is more than just a simple spat between two basketball figures. This controversy reflects a bigger issue in sports, the tension between the old guard and the new generation. Sheryl Swoopes, a three-time MVP and Hall of Famer, represents the legends of the WNBA. Caitlin Clark, on the other hand, represents the new era of athletes who are breaking records, gaining massive media attention, and helping the WNBA grow faster than ever. It's no secret that the WNBA has seen a surge in viewership, ticket sales, and media coverage, largely thanks to players like Caitlin Clark. Clark has brought new fans to the game, and her influence is undeniable. Just look at the numbers. WNBA viewership jumped by 180%, and ticket sales are through the roof. Much of that can be attributed to the hype surrounding Clark. But the question remains, why are some of the league's veterans seemingly reluctant to embrace this change? Swoopes' comments suggest that the older generation might feel their legacy is being overshadowed. In a surprising turn of events, Sheryl Swoopes was reportedly pulled from broadcasting a game involving Caitlin Clark. The WNBA allegedly made the move due to concerns about Swoopes' ability to call Clark's games fairly.
We're like, did Sheryl Swoopes get fired? They took her off this game, and a lot of people were also happy about that because we don't know what her commentary would have been like with the fever on the court.
Rumors are swirling that the decision came after Swoopes was accused of racism, with some saying she harbored bias against Clark.
So for people to come at me and say that I made those comments because I'm a racist, like, first of all, black people can't be racist. I have, like, no issues with Caitlin.
This news sent shockwaves through the WNBA community. Fans, players, and commentators alike weighed in on the situation, with many questioning if Swoopes' comments were rooted in jealousy, racial bias, or simply a refusal to acknowledge Clark's greatness. This drama caught the attention of big names in sports media, including Stephen A. Smith.
There seems to be some haterade in the league in regards to Clark starting with WNBA legend Sheryl Swoopes herself.
Never one to shy away from controversy, Stephen A. took issue with Swoopes for praising the Indiana Fever, but failing to even mention Caitlin Clark. In one of his fiery rants, he asked how anyone could praise the Fever without giving credit to the player who is, without a doubt, their biggest star. He called Swoopes out for letting her personal feelings cloud her judgment.
Yes, I did listen to your entire podcast. You didn't mention Caitlin Clark. So I was right, number one. Number two, your personal relationship, what that got to do with your coverage? Ain't nobody said don't mention them. Ain't nobody said don't applaud them. Nobody told you to ignore them.
And that critique resonated with many fans. Clark's WNBA peers have also weighed in. Some have shown support for Clark, acknowledging that while breaking records is great, winning championships is ultimately what matters. But there's no denying that Clark's presence in the league is having a massive impact, and the numbers don't lie. As Demita pointed out, the attention, viewership, and financial support that Clark has brought to the WNBA are undeniable. At the heart of this debate is a question that needs answering. Is the backlash Caitlin Clark is receiving really about her breaking records, or is there something deeper going on? Rachel Demita made it clear that the hate directed at Clark feels personal. Whether it's jealousy, frustration with the new era, or just the natural tension between different generations of players, it's clear that Clark is a target. Cheryl Swoops' comments about Clark's achievements sparked outrage because they seem dismissive and unfair. It's one thing to critique a player's performance. It's another to undermine their entire career. Swoops questioned whether Clark's records should even count, simply because she had more time to break them. But as Demita pointed out, records are meant to be broken, and every player has a different path. But the drama doesn't end here. As Caitlin Clark continues to break records and push the boundaries of what's possible in the WNBA, it's clear that the tension between the old and new generations is only going to intensify. Will Clark's haters finally give her the respect she deserves, or will the backlash continue to grow? And how will legends like Cheryl Swoops navigate this new era of women's basketball? One thing's for sure, Caitlin Clark is here to stay, and her impact on the game is just beginning. But the question remains, will the WNBA's veterans embrace the change? Or will the league continue to be divided between the past and the future? Make sure to drop your thoughts in the comments. Is Caitlin Clark unfairly criticized, or do legends like Cheryl Swoops have a point? Let us know what you think, and stay tuned for more updates on this ongoing drama.
How much more experience that gives you over other players coming in, right? So people say, dang, like he or she's killing them, but you have a 25-year-old playing against a 20-year-old. Like, you should be killing them. Because you've been doing it a lot longer than they have. Clark right now probably takes about 40 shots a game.
Here we go.
Cheryl Swoops has been stirring up controversy in the WNBA, particularly with her critical comments about rising superstar Caitlin Clark. This season, Swoops has made no secret of her jealousy, but her latest actions have taken things to a whole new level. ESPN, the network that's been closely following Caitlin Clark's meteoric rise, has highlighted her impact on the WNBA numerous times, making Swoops' criticism even more surprising. Diamond DeShields recently made headlines in WNBA news for an aggressive play against Caitlin Clark, sparking intense debate among WNBA fans. Imagine this. DeShields intercepts Clark at half court during a key Indiana Fever game, not with just any foul, but with a clear, frustration-driven play. The fallout from this incident was immediate, with WNBA analysts and fans calling it out as a dirty play.
Against Caitlin Clark, it wasn't okay. It was a flagrant foul.
Igniting a firestorm of controversy. The aftermath of Diamond DeShields' actions didn't stop at just criticism. DeShields faced a barrage of backlash, including receiving racist threats.
Diamond DeShields received racist threats after Caitlin Clark flagrant foul,
which highlighted ongoing issues within the WNBA community. But amid this storm, Cheryl Swoops stood out as a vocal supporter of DeShields, continuing her narrative against Caitlin Clark. Swoops tweeted, "Head up, kid. Hate will not win. You are covered, and there's nothing these evil people can do about that. All love for you." This tweet, while supportive of DeShields, had significant consequences for Swoops, leading to her removal from the WNBA broadcast team for the highly anticipated Fever versus Dallas Wings game, a pivotal WNBA matchup. When questioned by WNBA fans who were eager to hear her commentary, Swoops didn't hold back, responding with the now famous phrase, "Not today, Satan." But let's be honest, supporting WNBA players who engage in potentially dangerous, career-threatening actions isn't a good look for a WNBA legend like Swoops. This incident isn't isolated, it's just the latest in a series of actions that suggest jealousy and resentment towards Caitlin Clark, one of the most talked about players in women's basketball today. Stephen A. Smith, a well-known sports commentator frequently featured on ESPN, has consistently defended Caitlin Clark, and this time was no different. Smith didn't hesitate to call out Cheryl Swoops for her biased and baseless criticism of Clark.
Swoops. No, Caitlin Clark. Respectfully, Cheryl Swoops, you have any idea how that makes you look? You have any idea how that serves to stain any kind of critique of Caitlin Clark?
The Caitlin Clark effect isn't just a buzzword. It's a real phenomenon in women's basketball, driving WNBA viewership and attendance to new heights. Caitlin Clark is redefining the game every time she steps onto the court, breaking WNBA records and setting new standards for what's possible in women's sports. But with greatness comes envy, and Swoops' actions seem to reflect the challenges that come with being a trailblazer like Caitlin Clark. The tension between Cheryl Swoops and Caitlin Clark goes back to Clark's college basketball days. Swoops openly questioned whether Clark's skills would translate to the WNBA, even suggesting that Angel Reese's game was better suited for professional play. Swoops confidently predicted that Clark wouldn't dominate the WNBA immediately.
Like, nah, it's not gonna be that easy. So will Caitlin Clark be a good pro? Absolutely. Will Caitlin Clark come into the WNBA and do what she's doing right now? Immediately? Absolutely not. Not gonna happen.
Okay. But as we've seen, Caitlin Clark has exceeded all expectations, proving her doubters wrong at every turn. But Swoops didn't stop at questioning Clark's abilities. She also criticized Clark's NCAA scoring record, dismissing it as a result of volume shooting rather than skill.
Going to break a record, to me, if it's legitimate, you have to break that record in the same amount of time that that player set it.
Okay.
So if Kelsey Plum set that record in 4 years, well, Caitlin should have broke that record in 4 years. But because there's a COVID year and then there's another year, you know what I mean? So she's already had an extra year to break that record. So is it truly a broken record? Yeah, that'll go in the record books as Caitlin Clark is the all-time, whatever it is. I don't even know what the number is, but that's the way it'll be. And I don't think it should be.
However, Swoops got several key facts wrong. She claimed that Caitlin Clark took advantage of an extra year of eligibility due to COVID-19, playing 5 years of college basketball. In reality, Clark played the standard 4 years, just like Kelsey Plum, the previous record holder. What's more, Caitlin broke the record in fewer games, showing that it wasn't just about taking more shots, but making them count. Swoops also exaggerated by stating that Caitlin Clark takes 40 shots per game, when in truth, Clark's average is closer to 19 shots per game. And perhaps the most glaring mistake, Swoops claimed that Caitlin is 25 years old when she's actually just 22.
How much more experience that gives you over other players coming in, right? So people say, dang, like he or she's killing them, but you have a 25-year-old playing against a 20-year-old. Like, you should be killing them. Because you've been doing it a lot longer than they have. Clark right now probably takes about 40 shots a game.
Carry on.
These inaccuracies have led many WNBA fans and analysts to question whether Swoops' criticism is based on facts or personal bias. What Cheryl Swoops fails to acknowledge is the monumental impact Caitlin Clark is having on women's basketball and the WNBA as a whole. Caitlin Clark is bringing more attention to the WNBA than ever before, inspiring a new generation of young female athletes and drawing in a wider audience to the league. Instead of uplifting the next generation of WNBA players, Swoops seems intent on undermining their success. But this isn't just about Caitlin, it's about the future of the WNBA. Supporting Caitlin Clark means supporting the growth and evolution of women's basketball. Despite the backlash, Cheryl Swoops eventually issued an apology, though many found it less than sincere. She defensively stated that Black people can't be racist. a comment that did little to mend the situation.
I'm gonna say this, and then I wanna be done with this whole conversation. So for people to come at me and say that I made those comments because I'm a racist, first of all, black people can't be racist.
Meanwhile, Caitlin Clark continues to break records in her rookie WNBA season, solidifying her place in the history of the WNBA. From holding the WNBA single-game assist record to becoming the youngest player to achieve consecutive double-doubles in points and assists, Caitlin's accomplishments are rewriting the WNBA record books. Yet Sheryl Swoopes seems determined to ignore these achievements. It's becoming clear that this isn't just a case of casual criticism. It's starting to look like a personal vendetta, and people are taking notice. Even Stephen A. Smith, known for his outspoken views on ESPN, couldn't stay silent. He publicly criticized Swoopes for her blatant bias against Clark.
Clark and the Fever currently lead the WNBA in average game attendance and per-game TV viewership. But despite the attendance and viewership records, there seems to be some haterade in the league in regards to Clark starting with WNBA legend Sheryl Swoopes herself.
The statistics don't lie. Caitlin Clark is leading the Indiana Fever to new heights, with the team boasting the highest average game attendance and TV viewership in the WNBA. And yet, Swoopes refuses to give Caitlin the credit she deserves. Instead, Sheryl Swoopes continues to praise other Fever players like Lexi Hull, Kelsey Mitchell, and Aaliyah Boston, while conspicuously leaving Caitlin Clark out of the conversation.
This Indiana team, I'm gonna say shout out to Lexi Hull. I'm a big Lexi Hull fan. Watch her in AU. Lexi Hull shot the leather off the ball in their game against Seattle and just couldn't miss. Kelsey Mitchell is just stroking. She is just shooting the basketball. Aaliyah Boston, almost a triple-double.
This omission is becoming increasingly difficult for WNBA fans to ignore, especially as Caitlin continues to set new records and drive the success of the Indiana Fever. Swoopes' refusal to acknowledge Clark's contributions is not only petty, but also damaging to her own reputation as a WNBA legend. And the criticism doesn't end there. Swoopes went as far as to suggest that Caitlin's success is due to having better teammates at the Fever compared to Angel Reese's situation at the Chicago Sky. With Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese locked in a tight race for WNBA Rookie of the Year, Swoopes' dismissal of Clark's talent is almost laughable. So, what's next in this unfolding drama? As Caitlin Clark continues to rise in the WNBA, will the league and its legends like Sheryl Swoopes finally give her the recognition she deserves? Or will a shadow of jealousy continue to loom over her achievements? One thing is certain, this story is far from over.